Duggan out of Glens Falls on to victory here in Beantown. We'll be back.
Oh, is he exciting? What do you think that's significant of, that stomping of the foot like that? Does that mean he's going to drive everybody into the ground? I hope.
Probably shoes don't fit him. He's got a nail in his shoe. Or,
well,
I don't know. He just glued the sole on. How do I know?
I had a couple of cards for you. I failed to bring them. I left them in my attaché case. One was a invitation to Hulk Hogan's celebration party after WrestleMania, and the other one was a sympathy card that I got for you.
Well, there won't be no celebration party, and you can take that sympathy card and you can send it to somebody who needs it.
Well,
I won't need it.
Take a look at this piece of work right here.
That's right.
About an 80-inch girth that needs to use this particular belt. I don't know why they even let this thing out into the market, so to speak, because it doesn't really belong to anybody. You have to earn it.
That's right. It's not mine.
Why did they give it? Why did
one
they
of the
give it to you?
officials from the World Wrestling Federation has brought it here upon my request. I wanted to show the people what the World Championship belt will look like. A belt built for a man, a giant of a man, not just a one like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I understand that, but it belongs with the World Wrestling Federation. It doesn't belong here.
Well, that's why one of the...
Well, we're just 13 days away from an opportunity, a golden opportunity for this piece of work sitting next to me to really make a name for himself in the entire world, perhaps. And then again, we're 13 days away from you making a complete fool out of yourself and a lot of the guys in your stable as well. Family.
First of all, I'll never make a fool out of myself.
No, you will later on in the program when I show the footage of the woods.
No, I won't.
Okay.
But in 13 days, I'll become manager of the heavyweight champion, or I won't. I will not make a fool out of myself. I've put together probably the biggest match in the history of the sport.
No question.
And I'm going to walk out of there managing the world champion with this thing wrapped around the waist of Andre the Giant.
Well, that still remains to be seen. There are plenty of exciting things coming down very shortly in the Silverdome,
And
Pontiac,
you may not
Michigan.
get to show that footage.
To bring us up to date on everything, let's go to Mean Gene.
The PWR presents What If? What if John Cena turned heel? What if Chyna became the first woman world heavyweight champion? What if Owen Hart never passed away? What if Magnum TA never got into a car crash? What if Hulk Hogan stayed with the AWA? What if Shawn Michaels signed with WCW? What if WCW won the Monday Night Wars? What if Vince McMahon's WrestleMania failed? What if...
What's going on there, Reflectionites? What is going on there to the HAMIN? What is going on there to the solitary confinement PWC? My laugh is getting better, see? When I keep doing some what if episodes, Reflectionites, the laugh will get more devious. The laugh will get more evil, but the laugh will be more glorious. Gloriously evil. And with that being said, you know what? I've had a ball doing, no homo, I had a ball doing a what if episode last week, and now I'm going to do a what if episode this week here on the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. And welcome, because you know that I'm the man that changes wrestling history for the, well, I try to change it for the better. I try to book it for the better. I try to make money for the better and all that stuff. But before we even talk about that, I must introduce myself because I'm vain like that. I must introduce myself because I want to get younger and I want to get the grays out of my hair and the grays out of my nose and the grays out of my ears and all that spiel and all that stuff. I'm the charismatic one. I'm the affluent one. I am the sexy one of the bunch. But most importantly, I am the glorious one. The only objective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. The only objective man in this Twitterverse. The only objective man in this social media conundrum. Your friend of mine, the Professor Chabelle Cruz. Am I here alone? No. I'm here with the conservative liberal, the liberal conservative, the solo idiot, Dr. Freakenstein, Mr. Wonderful, and the undisputed, undeniable, universal heavyweight champion of the world from Detroit Rock City, the Tommy Wonder. And you know what? Reflectionites, the transparency is there. This man was pissed off because of his Detroit Lions losing because of the refs from the Kansas City Chiefs. But while we're recording this right now, either karma is sweet or life is a bitch, because what he pissed and moaned about with the refs with Kansas City, they in turn did them the solid and gave the game to the Detroit Lions against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And our friend indeed, TW, was at, it's not the Silverdome, it's not the Superdome, it's Ford Field, but he was there, butt naked, painted blue and white, or whatever the case may be.
It's silver.
Blue and silver, but he saw the travesty. He saw the robbery of Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. So, are you going to say karma is a bitch?
First of all, Baker Mayfield is my fantasy football quarterback, and he fucking sucked. Second of all, they were never even close to being in this game. It should have been 14 or 21 to nothing early, except for Goff fumbled, and then they went for it on 4th and 2 like dumbasses instead of taking the field goal. And then he missed a field goal. But it was 67 yards. But at the end of the day, let me tell you something. It's funny you would say that, because they called offensive pass interference on J-Mo for turning and catching a ball and getting a first down. Took that away. They ended up punting. They called a block to the back on the offensive line as Sonic is getting tackled by his face mask, and they didn't call that. And then they called that guy a first down, took the fucking timeout from us. And then in the first time in my life, and you know this, I watch all football. If football's on TV and I'm home, I'm watching. It doesn't have to be the Lions. It doesn't have to be the Niners. I watch all football. I watch all hockey. If there's a hockey or football game on and I'm on my couch, I'm watching one of them. And so never in my life have I seen a challenge where, first of all, they got it wrong on the field. Then they challenge it. It's so blatant that he doesn't get the first down that the instant replay guy in Ford Field just keeps putting it on the TV, showing that the dude doesn't get to the first down line when he gets tackled. He reaches for it, but is tackled about, I don't know, almost a yard shy of it for the hash mark. And then they said, you lose your timeout. And then they go huddle up, and then they say, hold on. After second thought, that motherfucker didn't get the first down. Lions, you get your timeout back, and here you go. But as far as giving them the game, Baker Mayfield and company came to Detroit, and it looked like they left their football skills back in Tampa Bay, because they were never even close to end this game. And the sad thing is, they were 5-1. I expected them to possibly win, especially after the game against Kansas City, and they came out and just laid an absolute egg.
I'm just saying, karma comes back in twofold. That's all it is. You got screwed in Kansas City, and now you get it your way in Detroit. It works both ways. The gods,
but the call had nothing to do with the Lions Tampa Bay game. The fact that Kansas City went an entire game, and by the way, not the first time, without getting any penalties. And there's any serious, I'm talking to you, Vickery, if there's any serious people out there that think it's normal for a team to have one penalty-free game, let alone multiple, it's disgusting. And
you know, it's the beauty of where you at. You're in Detroit, you see things from that spectrum, or you see things from your favorite team spectrum, right? But I'm just saying, every city, every sports talk fan in all the country will see it through a lens from their team.
But there's 31 other teams that have never had their team go penalty-free once, let alone multiple times. And when that dude is literally trash talking after scoring a touchdown and no taunting is called, but they call taunting on the Lions on a tackle, it's ridiculous. You could call holding on every single play. You know that?
It's in the rules. That's all it is.
Listen,
it's in the
let's not talk
bylaws.
about football. This is a wrestling podcast. I got a good story.
Okay.
So
I'm
Mattel puts out greatest hits now, right? They'll have a greatest hits, and they're going to start doing greatest hits basics. But the elites are the more expensive ones. They're $26 now. And have you ever heard the term "finding it in the wild"?
What's that for? Like,
It's when you're looking for something that's hard to find, and you got to go to eBay or Amazon or whatever because you just can't find it in the wild. And then one day you come across it just sitting on a peg, right?
Are you trying? You mean like collecting it to make money out of that? Oh, okay.
Well, not necessarily making money. You just collect stuff, and there's something you want, and it's hard to find. And then voila, not a holy grail. Those are harder to come by, holy grails. But I didn't realize this greatest hits Hulk Hogan was my favorite version of Hulk Hogan. When he wore, you know who my favorite version of Hogan is, where he wore different color tights, not just yellow. And
you mean the blue and the red and the red knee pads, right? The blue and the red knee pads, or the
right, just whatever. Yeah. But the all white, like Paul Orndorff and him wrestled each other, and whatever. Paul Orndorff would wear the white when he teamed with Hogan. Anyhow, so by the time I realized it wasn't the figure I thought it was the one that had that messed up face that looked like Evod Sullivan, who we referred to recently on this podcast. Number one Hulkamaniac. I thought it was that figure re-released, and they touched up the head and called it the greatest hits. So then I figure out, whoa, not only is it the Hogan with white tights, he's also got the cool belt, the one before the winged eagle. I don't know what they refer to it as. I think they call it the one with the world country flags on the side of it, the flag belt, whatever. Yesterday
it's the Hogan 87 special.
That belt's the one they made a version for Andre the Giant of.
Yeah.
So I have the Andre the Giant version on. Nope, I got it on Andre. I thought I had it on Hogan. But anyways, I go to Target yesterday. This greatest hit set is months old. There's still a Ron Simmons I want to get. Comes with the WCW World Title that Luger got. Purple tights, headband. And I see that all the time, but I'm waiting for clearance. And what do I find yesterday? I found him, Hulk Hogan. And I open it, I let him breathe. This right here, right now, there's another Hogan figure right there. You can't see it right there, but he's got the red bandana. This is my all-time favorite Hulk Hogan figure right now. I'm so glad I got it. And Target had a deal where you got $10 off if you spent $40 on a toy. So I got him and the Undertaker Legends, and it was $5 off of each. So I got it for the old price of $22. But I'm happy to have that.
That's good.
He's got good hair. He's got good hair. She's got a little Arn Anderson back there.
But the only thing I would say with that is it's grammatically incorrect because he never wore that belt with white tights. He wore the silver belt in '85. The '85.
I had that figure too.
Yeah, but grammatically, when he had white, he never wore the '87 special. He only had it with the let's say the NWA television title belt. But it is what it is, grammatically, whatever. 85, a little bit of 86, but with that belt, that was 87. Never, that the 87 special came actually in December of 86. So it is what it is. But actually, that's a good thing. So hold on to it, TW. So you can get some money. Yeah, that's the. But he also had that. He also had the white with that too. So it is what it is. But now, since you said we are a wrestling podcast, we're not going to talk about football. We're not going to talk about collectibles. We are going to change the course of wrestling history, Reflectionites. And you know what, TW? Again, we had so much fun changing with a freestyle discussion last week with Brock Lesnar. Now, I think we could go back to the formula that makes What If so special, that makes What If the most popular series of the Reflection podcast here at the HAMIN Media Group of Podbean.com. And you know what, TW? I think we can say it is an interesting discussion. I think this kind of a hypothetical has been asked, has been pondered by all the wrestling experts, all the podcasts, all the YouTubers. So we're not doing anything original, but we're going to put our own spin and twist on it. Are you ready, my friend, to do that?
I'm ready.
So with that being said, Reflection at TW, we are going to do a what if. What if Andre the Giant actually won at WrestleMania 3, Reflectionites? And if you see behind my back, you can see the Andre belt special. That was the belt he was supposed to wear after he defeated Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan, the suburbs and all that stuff. Pontiac, Michigan. Yeah, I know. But anyway, TW, with
Also
that,
referred to as Ponty Crack.
I guess that means the environment that allows it. Okay, I got you. Crack is whack. Crack is whack with Reflectionites and all that stuff. But the scenario is funny, TW, because we always talk about it, and you kind of harp on it a lot, especially with the first couple of WrestleManias, from WrestleMania 1 to, I'll say WrestleMania 9. Vince McMahon had a philosophy that if you went to WrestleMania 9 times out of 10, or actually 9 times out of 9 times, TW, you went home happy. Your heroes won the main event and all that stuff. But right now, TW, we're going to change it all. Because with that ambiance, TW, of 93,173 people, yes, Meltzer, it's still that. That's not a what if, that's actual factual. But anyway, neither here nor there. But TW, it is kind of intriguing. And you was there. What if you was, and let's not talk about booking just yet. Let's talk about you, the fandom that you was when you was there. What if you actually saw Andre the Giant pin Hulk Hogan 1, 2, 3 and become the new heavyweight champion at WrestleMania 3? That 90,000 people, right, TW? You would not hear it. You would hear a pin drop. You probably see kids crying and all that stuff. What say you? If you was there, what would have been young TW's reaction if he actually saw Andre the Giant beat Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3?
Well, as you know, in past episodes, I would have been fine with it, although I would have been disappointed when Ted DiBiase also lost and didn't win the UWF title, because I prayed, God, if Hogan has to lose to Andre for DiBiase to beat the one-man gang, I'll do that trade. So I would have been bummed out a couple weeks later. But I think I know a way you could do it and the fans still leave happy. But it might have caused, we all know the infamous scene when Hogan turned heel and they littered the ring. So there's a good chance Andre beats Hogan and people leave. And so what I was going to say is you have Macho Man Steamboat last, and you have what they used to do at the house shows where Hogan went on the first match after intermission, and then you'd have a shit match, and then you'd have the tag team titles last or the Intercontinental title. You could have done that, and if people stuck around, then they probably would have left happy because Steamboat beat Savage, especially with all the false finishes, because it would have looked like a double fuck you, like Macho Man was going to win too. But I think you can't do it because you run the risk of people leaving, like legit leaving. If Hogan loses, you had to have it last. You would find out very quickly. Well, now you would. Back then, we didn't have Monday Night Raw, but if there was a Monday Night Raw the next night, you would have found out if it was a winning strategy or a losing strategy by how many people tuned in to watch Monday Night Raw. I don't think they kept track of primetime wrestling ratings.
Well, it wouldn't have been primetime. It would have been Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, which would have actually been interesting.
Primetime wasn't on in '87 yet?
No, it was, but it wasn't the A show. Superstars was the A show. So you had to wait till Saturday. You had to wait actually a week, TW, for Superstars and Wrestling Challenge for, let's see, the first appearance, if you will, Reflectionites, of Andre the Giant as the new heavyweight champion. Let me just say this, and then, we'll fantasy book here in a couple of seconds, TW. But in my humble opinion, I think if you do it right, if you do with Andre the Giant defeating Hulk Hogan, and I say clean, the mystique of Andre has to be that he has to beat Hogan clean. Hogan did everything he could. He even hulked up. He even slammed him. But Andre the Giant kicks out of the... See, this is one of the things that I think was that Vince McMahon missed the boat on, because, again, as much as Vince McMahon, TW, appreciated Andre the Giant's, let's just say, contributions to the business, because Andre the Giant was an attraction since the 70s. Andre the Giant helped out the Memphis territory. Andre the Giant helped out Mid-South. Andre the Giant helped out the Crockett's. Andre helped out Vern Gagne, AWA. He was a fucking attraction, winning all those battle royals, making all these promoters a lot of money. And Vince McMahon could have done the ultimate thank you for all that shit without people realizing that this would have been something special for Andre. Maybe Andre never wanted the belt, or he like, oh, I don't need it, boss. Hogan's the man, and all that stuff. I got that, TW. I understand that. Andre knows business. Andre understands business. But as we have seen, TW, in WWE in the 2000s, TNA, maybe even AEW and all that stuff, ECW, you do give the belt to people who have contributed a lot, not only to their company, but to the business itself. So it's not bad for all. And he had back problems, TW. What a nice way. He got the main event slot, TW. Don't get me wrong. That's a nice way to say thank you for everything you've done. You sold out the house. You got 90,000 here at the Silverdome. I got that. But for Vince McMahon, like, you know, Andre, tonight's your night. I'm gonna give you the ultimate prize and win this thing. And I just wanted to, you know, harp on that for a second. But for him to win cleanly, for him to win and all that stuff, look who you got behind me, TW. You got the heater. Once Andre wins, this man right here to my right, Bobby the Brain Heenan, is the ultimate heater, Reflectionites. When Andre wins that belt, you give a microphone to Bobby the Brain Heenan. And I know, TW, you would say he would get quiet, but this motherfucker right now behind us, TW, you know he would get 90,000 people to boo out the building, to maybe throw some garbage, but that's what you needed. You got the heater right now to say, ladies and gentlemen, Hulkamania is dead. Long live Andre. Long live Andre Mania, the true, undisputed WWF champion, all that stuff. You got the heater right there. And that, to me, draws interest for me to watch Superstars next Saturday, Wrestling Challenge next Saturday, and to see what's yet to come for Andre the Giant as your new heavyweight champion. What's the ATW, or do you have a different idea or a different approach?
I got the perfect finish for Andre to win, because it would do two things. It would make him win clean, but it would give Hulk Hogan a new game plan in fighting him the next time to not make the same mistake twice, right? Which is, you're delaying it. He's still going to get it. And then it would actually add intrigue to the next match when he went to attempt it. But remember, the very first spot in the match was Hogan picking up Andre and falling backwards and almost losing right away. He could have done it a second time, and at the end, Andre fell on him, and now he's tired. Now he's taking a beating, and he doesn't kick out. So twice he tried to pick Andre up. Both times he fell backwards. The second time, it cost him the title. So now you Scooby-Doo to their rematch and Hogan reclaiming it.
Wait. Before you do the rematch thing, I just want to make it clear from TW's perspective in WrestleMania 3. I'm just talking about WrestleMania 3 alone.
Yeah, yep.
He never slams him. He attempts to slam him and he fails. And the second time, he's tired and he can't kick
out when he falls back. So now when they do fight again eventually, Hogan, everyone knows you don't try to slam him. And in the next fight, he does a spot where he acts like he's going to slam him and goes, no. And then eye gouges him like Hogan does and does all that. But the very finish, if Hogan's winning the belt back, the end finish, I have a better way to have Andre to lose the belt. But if you have Hogan finish him with the body slam, then a leg drop, 1, 2, 3, and wins the belt back, because then it makes it look like Hogan had to go back to Rocky training and figure out, and then they could secretly show us on Superstars the next week he was practicing body slamming cows or something so that he could strengthen his back up. You know how they did it.
Yeah.
But I got a much better. So here's number one. The reason you can't do what you're saying to do to Andre, the thank you, is because he's a heel. If he's a babyface, all day long you do it, right? But he's a heel. It's good versus evil, blah, 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 blah. But do you know the reason why Andre the Giant was in Battle Royals all the time?
Less things. He didn't have to really exert a lot of energy.
Well, that's one of the reasons. But the reason they did it was because everybody was like, why isn't he fighting for the world title? Because he's fighting 100 guys at once, right? Everyone always tried to gang up on him, throw him out. He threw everybody else out. But that whole spot you see when everyone gangs up on the big guy and they break off of him, that started with Andre. But the reason Andre was in Battle Royals is because it's not hard to put the belt on him. What's hard is taking the belt off of him. And since he supposedly is undefeated for 13 years, we all know that's not true, but it's true on TV. And so, just like the reason he got the tag belt was because there's an easy, obvious way to take the belts off him. Haku gets pinned and everybody wins, right? So Andre's still not getting tackle, drop down, leapfrog, all that. He's not wrestling Steamboat Savage 2. He's wrestling, and then Haku takes the pin. But when you're ready to book this dude's run as champion, we have to delay some shit, but I got a perfect run for this guy.
I think we both have different variations of the perfect runs, but let's go back to WrestleMania. Because let's put it this way, TW, do you agree with my assessment that after he wins, Bobby the Brain Heenan has to get on the mic?
He has to make it all about him. He has to celebrate like he won the title.
Right, because this was the biggest hurdle for Bobby the Brain Heenan. The wars, every family member failed to get the belt from Hulk Hogan, and he finally got his ace. He finally got his heater in Andre the Giant.
Hogan's best friend.
Hogan's best friend. He got the ringer that Bobby the Brain Heenan never had in Andre. That's why I think
Andre couldn't beat Andre either. Stud and Bundy lost to Andre all the time.
Right. Again, he's the perfect ringer to get the belt from Hogan. That's why Reflection. I think me and TW are in agreement here because again, I agree with TW. I don't think you slam him. Again, for all intents and purposes, Reflectionites, I think we're both in agreement here. Is like the way you garner heat, the way you garner interest in for Hogan's chase, because I think me and TW have different variations of the chase. But for that moment, for 90,000, I think TW on TV alone, I'm not gonna say I would have been crying, but I would have been mad going to school. You know, you had those friends. When lunchtime came, we all had our tater tots and pizza days and shit like that. You all be sitting like this and looking at it. If I was with you, TW, I'd be looking like you saw it, right, TW? You saw it, right? You saw that bullshit?
Right,
we would have been like, you saw that bullshit? And we would have been mad. And, some of us would have had our Hulkamania shirts, and then there would have been that one kid who hated Hulk Hogan and all that stuff. Like, I'm happy. I don't know about you. I'm happy. This would have been great lunchroom school talk, TW. You agree with that? I know you had those friends.
Absolutely.
And we're probably like 90% of them were Hulkamaniacs, but there's like one dick or prick. I would have probably been the prick, but nah, I was a Hulkamaniac. So, there's always that one prick that would have been like, Andre got y'all. Yeah, this is what would have been great. I'm just reflecting that. You got to understand, that's the beauty of this. This would not have made me, TW, quit watching WWE. This actually would have made me more interested because, again, in my humble opinion, like you said on previous episodes, like the philosophy of Vince McMahon was always to book your champions as the heroes are the champions. The heroes are the heavyweight champions. They go against every villain known to man. But I've watched the NWA side, so seeing the Ric Flair being on top and seeing like Dusty Rhodes chase Ric Flair, I would not have been mad at Hogan being the guy chasing Andre. I'm like, oh shit, you're going. I would have been like, I'm interested. This is a different direction. That's why I would have been more interested. It's not like, it's not being a homer for WWE or a homer for NWA. Knowing what I've seen on the NWA, it would have shocked me for a second, but I would have been interested. TW, you have that same approach, or do you be like, nah, this is the Southern strategy. This is not us. Hogan should have been a champion no matter what.
First of all, we wouldn't have known the fucking strategy was the word to use. Second of all, I don't quit watching when the Lions lose a game. I watch them redeem themselves. So I would have been on waiting for Hogan to redeem himself. But like I said, you're going to book it differently than me, and that's a beautiful thing because I have a new star is born. It would just change a lot of things. But Andre being the champion, obviously the historians would want Hogan to win his belt back, but I got somebody else to take it.
Ooh, it's not even Hogan. Okay, well, you know what? With that being said, Reflectionites, TW, let's not book it just yet for the chase. I have the Hogan chase. I have Hogan chasing the belt until WrestleMania 4. That's the way I'm going to go with it. I'm just giving you the little hyperbole there. But I just want to focus on Andre here. Again, like I said, I would have been interested for Superstars or Wrestling Challenge. Now, we know, realistically, Reflectionites, we know about Andre's back and all that condition. So we cannot force Andre to make tape, just to, take the red eye and just go to, like, let's just say the New York City, the well, or the Boston Garden, or what I'm talking about, TW. Or you can't
He's
have
not going to be a fighting champion.
Yeah, he's not going to be a fighting champion. So this is why Bobby the Brain Heenan is more prevalent here. The first thing, in my humble opinion, for Andre, before he makes his first television appearance holding the belt, Reflectionites, is Bobby the Heenan. The first wrestling challenge and the first superstars who's holding the belt is Bobby Heenan, because he doesn't need Andre right now. He's holding the belt because, again, the analogy, TW, and TW kind of like said it, I beat Hogan. It's all about me. So I would book it that way. Like, he's holding the trophy. He's holding the mantle. He's the Dragon Slayer to Hogan. So I would use that. I would use Mean Gene to interview Bobby the Brain Heenan. I would use Jesse and Bobby the Brain Heenan celebrating that they got Hogan, that they got to defeat Hogan. Jesse would have been the happiest motherfucker on TV, and Vince McMahon would have been the saddest motherfucker on TV. Reflectionites. That's why I'm looking at it as so interesting there. So TW, again, hold your booking for a second. I'm just go with mine first. I'm just talking about Andre's first appearance. I think his first appearance will be Saturday night's main event. I would save it like that. And Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Well, remember, he's got to defend the title every 30 days.
No. We find out during TV during the week, because he got a belt made just for Andre the Giant. He had clauses in the contract that dictate when, where, and how Andre. So they dismissed the 30-day rule, and Jack Tunney didn't have to agree to that. We find out that way. We find out Bobby the Brain Heenan is one of the shrewdest managers in wrestling history to get it that way. We understand why, but at least on TV could be explained that way. And we don't see Andre until Saturday night's main event. Celebrate. That's the way I would do it, in my humble opinion. TW, you have a different twist on Andre's first appearance?
I would absolutely prolong his appearance, but what I would do is I would have Heenan on there with the belt by himself, saying Andre's in Tahiti with a couple of the Rosati sisters, just celebrating and just, where's Andre? Where's Andre? And meanwhile, Hogan's hurt from the second body slam, so he's gone too. Heenan's the main guy. But what this does is it already sets the pace for Andre to turn on Bobby when he finally comes back, because he's sick of Bobby taking all the credit. So when he finally does lose the belt, instead of being mad about losing the belt, and obviously you have Heenan somehow cost him or be the reason he's in the match to begin with, and then he does what he eventually did when he bonks Heenan and turns babyface again.
Okay. It's interesting on your end, and Reflectionites, TW will harp on it because he has a different direction. I'll go first, TW, and then you can try to like make mine a little bit better. But I think for
it might be completely different.
No. I mean, I want you to add on to what I'm going to say, and then maybe I'll add on to what you're going to do too.
Okay.
Because I think we'll have two different, like you said, we'll have two different variations. My variation, Reflectionites, is maybe very predictable, but I think it's the ultimate redemption story for Hulk Hogan. I think it's a year-long chase for him to get his rematch until WrestleMania 4. Now, people might say I might use the Royal Rumble as an excuse. No, I don't need the Royal Rumble. I think it books itself, TW. What does Bobby Heenan have? A family. He has King Kong Bundy.
I don't think the Royal Rumble existed yet.
It does in '88.
But it's not for the world title. That's not till 92.
No. I'm just saying I don't need the Royal Rumble. I'm just saying, but what I need with my redemption story is Hogan has got to defeat the family. He's got to go past Rick Rude. He's got to go past King Kong Bundy. He's got to go past Paul Orndorff because he hasn't turned on him yet, and all this stuff. So there's a lot of family members that Hogan has to take out to get to Andre by the time WrestleMania 4 comes on. This is where Bobby Heenan, turns into this shrewd manager and all that stuff. Again, like you said, we saving Andre. And during these fights with like, let's say, Rude and Bundy and the Red Rooster and shit like that, who is in their corner? Andre the Giant, because he's scouting, let's say would-be challengers, and he's scouting Hogan and all that stuff. He fucks with Hogan. He causes like disqualifications. He might cause countouts and shit like that. That's why it makes the
Steve Lombardozzi.
Well, I don't want to use the Brooklyn Brawler, but I don't
want to use the Rooster.
Hey, he's part of the family. I'm just giving
So
the
is the
names.
Brooklyn Brawler.
That's 89.
Oh.
Thank you. But anyway, neither here nor there. But you get where I'm going with it. He has to go over the family mountain.
He's got to run the gauntlet.
He's got to run that gauntlet. And again, but it's not easy. He might take some wins here and there because the beauty of it is, you're going to fight in Madison Square Garden against a family member. You got to go to the Joe Louis Arena to fight a family member. You're going to go to the Boston Garden or the LA Sports Arena and all this shit. But it's a year-long chase using the family as his hurdle to get to Andre the Giant. But again, it's not as easy. He'll get the wins, but year-long frustrations, like I said, disqualifications, countouts, and shit like that. And I'll say this, while Hogan is doing that, Andre could have his first title defenses against the SD. This is where it gets funny because, there'll be like one or two, there'll be like one legitimate contender, but like the first couple of fights that Andre has, the Reflectionites, Bobby the Brain Heenan will treat him like Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3. He will give him some easy opponents. SD Jones, Dusty Wolf, and shit like that. And he'll say that these guys are world-traveled athletes that deserve a heavyweight title shot. And you would
Iron Mike Sharp.
Iron Mike Sharp. We would laugh at this shit because it's funny. And then someone like Jesse the Body Ventura, TW, would be like, what are you talking about? You don't think Iron Mike Sharp deserves a title shot? And Vince McMahon is so mad and frustrated with Bobby the Brain. This is why it works on TV, TW. So do you like my idea so far? Do you have any kind of tweaks you want to do?
I have my own version, but that's why. So I can't really add to yours other than, he's going to have. So as you're saying it, though, I'm thinking to myself, who could be a guy that obviously beating Andre the Giant's a different animal, but you have him fighting all these easy wins and then somebody beats him, but you have to make that a non-title. But then Andre loses his undefeated streak, so you can't really do any of that kind of stuff. But
no, but when it's for the title, it doesn't matter. I don't think people would. I think they will change the narrative to not beating him clean, because then when you're the champion, you can take a count and all that stuff. Because I think during the run to Hogan to WrestleMania 4 Reflectionites TW, like you could do the SD Joneses and the Dusty Wolves, but there is one guy that can actually do this. And he comes in 87 TW, Bam Bam Bigelow. So that's around the Survivor Series time and the December and Christmas time. You set up that kind of, or Saturday Night's Main Event time. You set up that program for Bam Bam. And who's in Bam Bam's corner? Not only Sir Oliver Humperdinck, but again, you got Hulk Hogan. So you kind of like, you keep that Easter egg of Hulk Hogan. He's going to root for Bam Bam. But like you said, Hulk Hogan is the ultimate fuck with you kind of guy. He will do those evil things. He might cost Bam Bam the heavyweight title, or he will save Bam Bam from getting his ass whipped by the family and all that stuff. That's the way I would use it for Saturday Night's Main Event around December time. And then you build it up in January and February with Hogan finally getting. Maybe you do the main event is February 88. So then what would you do? What would be the perfect way of Hogan earning the title shot at the Mania, TW? I would say this to me. It's a 90-minute show. We actually, he literally ran the gauntlet for all these times, one-on-one. Let's say the Rooster and Rick Rude. I think for the 90-minute main event special, one night, Hogan has to beat four family members in one night. And he finally does it. By the time he gets to Bobby Heenan's like second in command behind Andre, which would be probably Rick Rude, he's tired, but then he overcomes, he hulks up, and that's the way he gets his legitimate title shot to Mania 4. There, in Mania 4, Reflectionites and TW here, like I said, it's the ultimate redemption story. He didn't slam him in Mania 3, but like TW said, he's got the eye of the tiger, and he doesn't do it on the third try, but he does it on the fourth try. So it gives all the credit to Hogan getting his heat back. Hulkamania lives. It gets its redemption, but also it gives a respectable 1-year run for Andre to lose the belt and drop it cleanly in Mania 4, in my humble opinion. Do you like that, or again, you're gonna have your variation?
I like it if we're gonna go with Hogan, and I wouldn't have him do the pick up and fall back same as he did in the other matches or match.
No, I think he would just try it and then hurt his back and then kind of like
right. But I would have him tease it and go, no, we're not doing that because that's how I lost. and then eventually with all the get caught up in the emotion, go to do it and then hurt his back, and then Andre takes heat. But yeah, and then finally out of nowhere slams him, leg drops him, pins him for the belt. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but he wouldn't be my guy. I would have to speed some stuff up to make my run, but I know how to delay it too.
Go ahead, TW. I already gave you my kind of abbreviated run, the Hogan redemption story to Mania 4. How are you gonna do the variation? And who's your guy then? Savage?
So I think Hogan disappears because he's hurt from the 2 slams. So you don't hear from him. I stick with your Heenan takes all the glory. When they ask why Andre's not there, oh, he's in Tahiti, he's in Acapulco, he's doing this, that, and everything. Then they have him squash Dusty Wolf or SD Jones or whatever. And now people are like, and then you don't see him again. And eventually when he turns on him, it's going to turn out Andre wanted to get there, but Heenan wasn't booking his flights. Heenan was purposely making him stay home so he could stay on, get all the attention and all that. So I would keep that part of it to make him babyface. But what I would do is I would have him go.
Wait, hold on for a second. I'm not, go on with your thing. I just want to ask for the Reflectionites because my question is, why do you want Andre to turn face again so quickly?
Because he's nearing the end of his rope and he's going to retire, and you want to retire as a babyface.
Okay, all right. I just want to ask that question.
It doesn't have to be right away. It could be a year later.
It seems like right away. Even you're doing your
no, because I'm not having to lose the belt for a year because I can't because the guy's not there yet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But instead of and then you could also incorporate Hogan, but from WrestleMania 3 to WrestleMania 4, Andre the Giant, not like Brock Lesnar, but the same thing. He's not whooping everyone's ass and beating them in no time. What it would be is every match, people are trying to whoop his ass and can't get him off his feet. And finally, one slip up, ham hock to the face, and he beats everyone. Beats Hillbilly Jim, beats Junkyard Dog, beats Babyface Orndorff, beats whatever. And then finally, Hogan comes back, does all the stuff you say, to get the shot at WrestleMania, but then the night before WrestleMania or the week before, whenever Superstars airs, Hogan gets taken out, can't make Mania. So Andre's in the ring at WrestleMania. He's beating everybody for a year. Hogan, the great white.
I see you doing that Luger shit. I see you.
And then he's in the ring and thinks he's celebrating because Hogan's not there. And Jack Tunney goes, "No, you're defending your title tonight, just not against Hogan." And then you hear, dun, 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 dun. And the Warrior comes out and literally beats Andre the exact same way he beat Honky Tonk Man. And he takes it because Andre never prepared for him. Andre never got knocked off his feet the whole time until Warrior comes out. Because he beat him in matches like that, right? The house shows was Warrior just coming out, clobbering him, hitting the splash, and winning in like under a minute. And so that's how you debut the Warrior. That's how you get the belt off of Andre. And then obviously Andre gets rematches or whatever, and maybe takes it back. And then Hogan finally comes back and takes it at SummerSlam. Because that means the Warrior gets fucking shafted another short reign. I don't like it. But I think you just have Andre just like Brock. Brock just crushes everybody, but in reverse. People are trying to crush Andre, but can't move him, can't get him off their feet, none of that. And that's where, and finally at the end, the Warrior comes out, hits him with a couple clotheslines before finally knocking him down. Doesn't have to slam him. You can save the slam for Hogan.
No, you got no. I would say he would slam. He has to slam.
Well, there you go. He can run out, clothesline him again, clothesline him a third time, and as he's teetering, body slam him and hit the Warrior splash. But that's and what I think happens is, I think if you do that, Warrior gets a fairer shake of being the guy instead of how he got in '90 when he got host. But I mean you lose the mega powers if you do this. You lose Macho Man as a babyface. You lose a lot of stuff if Andre winning the title at Mania 3 and not at February before Mania 4, because he did win the title. Let's not don't take away he got his title and he gave it up, which is again a nice way to take it off of him. And because he did that, we got the Macho Man reign. We got a Warrior reign. All the people that got the belt after that is made possible by Andre giving the belt up to DiBiase and them saying, "You can't do that. We need a tournament." So
all the major players would not get that high profile like you're talking
Right.
about if
Yeah.
Andre wins the belt and has maybe a year run going into Mania 4. Macho Man, let's actually harp on this for just a quick second, because again, you don't have to book Macho Man. I'm just asking that question because then you think Macho Man, his whole legacy is the tournament of WrestleMania 4. He wins that one night tournament, he runs the gauntlet, wins 4 matches with or without Hogan help, doesn't matter to me. But the legacy is set in stone. That's why he's one of the top guys of WWF history and all that shit. I guess the question is Macho Man just relegated to the IC belt? Does he ever
Just
sniff
until
that?
this plays out. I mean, why can't the Macho Man then fight Warrior for the belt?
Okay.
It's just I don't remember how Macho Man turned good guy. Was it the Bret Hart and Honky Tonk Man, all that stuff?
It was the IC jealousy that he had with Honky Tonk Man, saying he was the greatest Intercontinental Champion. Macho Man kind of felt like slighted from him,
Right.
and all that
Right.
stuff. So
And then
it's a good question.
It was a slow babyface turn. It wasn't like didn't he save Hogan or something?
Reverse. Hogan saved him.
Oh, that's how he became the good guy.
No,
Elizabeth went and got him.
that's how the Mega Powers was born, because of what
Right.
Elizabeth did.
Right.
Macho Man didn't need no help, but it was Elizabeth that kind of curtailed the deal with the
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, TW? You ruined my moment with my brother at SummerSlam '88 with Warrior winning the belt at WrestleMania 4 with the way he wins. Like Jack Tunney says, because Warrior makes that kind of surprise appearance against the Honky Tonk Man when Honky Tonk thought he was going to walk away with the title.
Right. That's what I said.
You ruined.
I'm speed it up.
You ruined my and my brother's moment. We were there at Madison Square Garden. You ruined that moment. So we wouldn't even know.
Let me tell you though. Oh, you're saying because you were there. I'm not ruining your moment because you're gonna fucking nut in your pants if he wins the world title, beating Andre the Giant way more than beating Honky Tonk Man.
But I wasn't at WrestleMania 4. I was at SummerSlam '88. But anyway, neither here nor there. I do like you kind of speed up the Warrior thing. Let's harp on this for a second, because it's funny that you want Warrior to win the belt. I'm not saying that it's wrong or I disagree with it.
I'm not saying I want him to win the belt. I just think it's the only logical way to take it from Andre, other than him surrendering it.
No, I get you.
And it makes the Warrior. The Warrior is a made man after that. But what it also be making the Warrior, especially depending on who Andre beat in that year and beat him, and then Warrior comes out and doesn't even bump for him and wins, even more people would hate the Warrior than they already do.
I don't mind the Warrior beating Andre at WrestleMania 4. I'm just the question I want to ask for you is the Hogan factor, because again, you don't want Warrior to have a short title reign. You don't want him to be a transitional champion. So you want him to have a long run. So that's what my question for you is: where does Hogan fit in this mold?
Well, see,
in your booking.
Now Warrior wins it at 4. Now it's still the Ultimate Showdown, because it's going to be Hogan Warrior at 5 anyway, and it's going to be title for title. But this time, Hogan's the Intercontinental Champion, because it'll be Hogan that takes out Honky Tonk Man at SummerSlam and sets up the Ultimate Showdown. But Warrior still wins, and then Hogan goes on to pasture. Just goes to WCW a little bit sooner.
Oh, okay. So you do.
I think it makes the Warrior. I think it makes it undeniable. They've always been looking for the next Hogan. What better way than to have him come out and do what Hulk Hogan could not do? Body slam Andre the Giant, pin him, become world champion, and then him and Hogan become buddies. They do the exact same stuff that they did setting up Royal Rumble, setting up the tag match where they fought. I don't remember who they fought. Who did they fight in the tag match?
Who?
Hogan and Warrior. Orndorff?
No, they fought Slaughter and the Sheik and Adnan in SummerSlam.
I'm talking about before Warrior won the belt.
Oh, no, I think it was like main event, maybe like him and Hogan against Bravo and Earthquake. But it was just
it was something shit like that. Yeah, it was something like that.
It was very shitty. It didn't really matter and all that stuff. So you know what? With that being said, TW, let's do the curveball here. Forget about the Warrior right now, and I'll forget about my Hogan redemption story, because again, that's our two variations, Reflectionites, and I get you can't go wrong either way. I get the redemption of Hogan at Mania 4. TW gets the Ultimate Warrior getting the torch earlier, and maybe even Vince McMahon being a little bit more shiesty at TW. Again, like if you're gonna have the next Hogan, you don't need Hogan. You might let Hogan.
Right.
You might release Hogan from his contract, and he might go to WCW in 1990. You never know. I'm just saying it could work that way, and you could save Jim Hurt's job. Reflectionites for all intents and purposes.
Now we're gonna ruin Sting.
Hey, you did it. I didn't do it. You did it. But let's go back to Andre, because again, I think we have different variations in philosophies. So again, we both agree that Andre has to have limited dates. We go with that, but we need credible. Let's try to fuck the Warrior, and fuck the Hogan redemption story. Let's see, and I'm not even talking about WrestleMania 4. Let's see within the roster, TW, where TW would say, okay, this is a good match for Saturday night's main event. This is a good match for maybe Survivor Series 88. If you didn't have to have Andre being in team against team and shit like that, or you might build on something because of the team against team. I said Bam Bam Bigelow would be a good title defense for Andre the Giant. I think that because again, optic wise, it looks like Bam Bam can actually curtail the mountain that is Andre the Giant. You got Ken Patera, you got Hillbilly Jim,
Billy Graham.
No, I don't. Billy Graham is kind of retired outright.
But he got replaced by Morocco. But he was on the team.
You got Morocco. Let's go with Morocco. You might got Paul Orndorff. You got Jake the Snake Roberts turning good. You got Ricky Steamboat. You might want to use Randy Savage in some form or fashion.
I would protect Steamboat. I wouldn't put him in there with Andre.
I'm just naming names for you. Whatever works for you. I'm not saying book it. I'm just saying you got Steamboat. You got Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Duggan would be a good title defense. Morocco, Orndorff, Patera, Bigelow. Those would all be good defenses because they're the good guy fighting the bad Andre in reverse of Hogan fighting all those guys when they were the feeder fish for Hogan as the good guy. So those are good guys, and they're all long in the tooth, ready to go. But if you start putting Steamboat in there and Macho Man in there and Jake the Snake in there and maybe Rick Rude turns babyface and goes in there, they're all gonna hate the Ultimate Warrior if he just skips the line and gets to be the guy, because they can all call the belt a prop all they want. But they don't like guys that come in and just jump the line and get right to the main event. They do not like it, ever, even today.
So no Steamboat. You don't want Steamboat in
I think you protect the younger guys. Patera, Bigelow's still young, but he's not. No one thinks he's the future of wrestling, if that makes any sense.
I understand. I'm just asking the names.
Morocco's for sure long in the tooth. Bob Orton's baby or heel, but just all those guys, Hillbilly Jim, all these guys who you think size-wise can match Ted Arcidi, their size, maybe they can go with Andre, and then just they try everything they can. They throw the kitchen sink at him, and he fucking headbutts him, punches him in the face, and does that underhook suplex and beats him.
Let me ask you a question. Would you not put Savage in the mix, let's say 87, early 88 with Andre as the champ? No? You protect him too.
I'd protect him. I'd even save him as a heel to so that when the Warrior wins, you got Warrior versus Savage, Warrior versus Rude, Warrior versus those young guys. Maybe even Jake the Snake doesn't ever turn babyface because you don't need him to yet. You got him versus Jake. You got him versus Orndorff. All these guys, all these body guys versus the Warrior, and then you figure out who's gonna finally beat Warrior, and maybe it's nobody because it was nobody for 4 years beating Hogan.
No, that's true. Junkyard Dog.
Junkyard Dog.
Junkyard Dog. You good with that one?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All the beloved guys that people would want to beat Andre, but just come up short.
Here's a variation that maybe I know you're not a fan of it because again, the optics is weird for the atmosphere of the arena. You always say this, but the heel versus heel concept, because I'm thinking top of my head right now, 87. Well, at least in 80. Going into 88, right? With Andre, if Andre is the champion and maybe he has that kind of Brock Lesnar shit like you're talking about, even if I'm taking the Warrior to the side. Let's just say he has the belt and
we're forgetting about the Undertaker too.
No, that's 90. He ain't having that belt that long. So I'm just being really realistic with the year plus run. But I'm thinking again, what you're saying that you protect certain guys, but you remember there were certain aspects on WWF television, TW, we cannot mistake this. But there were certain times that, Bobby the Brain Heenan hated Jimmy Hart and vice versa. Mr. Fuji hated Bobby the Brain Heenan. Johnny Valiant hated Bobby the Brain Heenan. Slick might have hated Bobby because, again, all the managers want to one up each other. So with what you're saying is to protect certain people, you got Jimmy Hart's family. Could you use maybe Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil to go after Andre the Giant? Or with Slick, could you use Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik? Or in '88, could Slick have Big Boss Man and a team to go after whatchamacallit? Well, actually, he's the one-man gang in '87. So could you have the one-man gang going after Andre the Giant for the belt with Slick by his side? Do you see a heel versus heel concept that works for TW's favor?
That's right. That's right in the time. Remember, people think it's good guy versus bad guy, and they think it's real. So
But we're changing history. We're changing history. We got to
understand that. But you're talking 86, 87, 88. That's the window. I believe it was 87 when the After Mag said the night the fans booed everybody. It was Sheik and Volkov versus Valentine and Beefcake. The fans sat on their fucking hands because they didn't want anybody to win. They wanted them all to lose. I don't think that would draw people in because they would be forced to cheer for somebody, and then now you're going to inadvertently making somebody a babyface. And you can't because they got the manager that automatically makes them a heel.
But like you said with your variation, because you said that there's certain instances where Bobby the Brain Heenan is manipulating Andre the Giant. You could actually book it in a sense that Bobby the Brain Heenan is might pay Slick to use one man gang as a hired mercenary to take the belt off of Andre. I'm doing your booking with what you said that you might want to make Andre the Giant a good guy in certain instances.
Yeah, but why would Bobby want someone that's managed by someone else to take the belt from the guy he manages?
If Slick has got a briefcase full of money, that's all that matters. And two, like you said, that maybe
I got a better one for you. Not a better one. I have an alternate one for you.
Go ahead.
What if one of the people in the Heenan family are like, fuck this, man, I want a title shot. And then they make it out like short-term babyface, whether it's Orndorff or Bravo or Bundy versus Andre. And then when he loses, just says sorry to the family and stays in the family. And people are like, fuck you, we'll never cheer for you again. That kind of stuff. Because you got to have a rooted interest. You can't watch a match. So I'm going to give you an example of modern. By the way, at 14, and that's with that, it's still dying fast with the charger on there, so 14%. But I did this when it was at 26. But I'll tell you a match recently. I believe it was that shit in Australia, Perth or whatever. A match that you are begging people to take a side. Imagine with heels when they just already don't like you. But the main event, I don't know if it was the main event, but LA Knight, CM Punk, Jey Uso. They fight each other, and the crowd is now booing guys that they like because they put their faith in Punk or they put their faith in Knight. I think it hurt Jey Uso the most. I think he got the more
heat. He got the heat.
Not just the heat, but I'm saying they did the yeet shit. But when he wrestled, there's even a part where they're chanting something for either LA Knight or CM Punk. That Jey Uso looked at the crowd like, man, what the fuck? Because he knew that crowd, if they had to choose.
No, what you're saying was they sang Punk's song, and Punk kind of, goaded Jey Uso.
Right, but my point is, you see the writing on the wall. If the WWE is going to make us choose between Punk, Knight, and Jey Uso, we're picking Punk. It hurt LA Knight. It hurt Uso. But there was times when LA Knight did shit to Jay where they cheered for LA Knight doing it. So that was the pecking order. Punk, Knight, Uso. And maybe that's why they did it. They wanted to see who the fans really, really liked. But again, it's not fair because that's Perth. People in Hoboken, New Jersey might have sided with Jey Uso, and people in Boston might have sided with LA Knight over Punk. I think the right guy won the title or won the match, but I think it was just dumb to have it against two other babyface. There's not one heel in that match. And the crowd is just like, well, fuck it. If you're going to make me pick, I'm going to cheer for CM Punk. Because you run the risk. So
then that exposes Andre being the bad guy or the good guy in the heel versus heel mode.
Yeah. So or they fucking boo everybody and just don't care. No one comes to the show. No one watches the TV. No one orders the pay-per-view. And you find out, ooh, shit, heel versus heel does not sell.
All right,
But they did
Mhm.
that thing I talked about in the past where they do these little test shots, test spots in house
Mhm.
shows where they have two heels fight each other because they want to see who the crowd chooses. And Razor Ramon and Lex Luger did that. And the crowd cheered for both of them. Within a month, both were baby faces because they got the test results. They like both of you, so we're going to make both of you baby faces. And they went on to be huge, popular guys.
All right. So with that being said, reflection, I see, TW's battery is going to go down. So, I want to end the show on a good note here, TW. So it's more of a question. All right.
Yep. Yep.
So it's not about booking or about anything. Just hypothetically, in TW's mind, if Andre won the belt at Mania 3, what would you think the business of professional wrestling, the effects of it, positive or negative? What would you think the business end of Andre becoming the heavyweight champion at WrestleMania 3 in front of 90,000 people? What would it do after the fact? Money wise, business wise, ratings wise, all that stuff.
Well, my first intuition is to say it would have hurt business. But then I realized as I was waiting for you to finish the question, WrestleMania 4 and 5 were at fucking Trump Towers or whatever.
Trump
Yeah.
Plaza.
Trump Plaza. So business wasn't fucking lifted from it either. So I actually am going to change my answer. I think because everyone tuned in to think Hogan was going to win and he did, I think they were done. Mission accomplished. Story finished, right? We
Mhm.
came to see Hulk Hogan beat Andre. He did. There's nothing left for us to see. So I think in hindsight, maybe Andre winning makes people go, what the fuck? We thought Hogan was a lock. And now they're going to be like, oh, what's he going to do next? And maybe next year, WrestleMania 4 isn't at Trump Plaza. It's at fucking, somewhere bigger, Madison Square Garden or Boston Garden or something with prestige. But
Mhm.
yeah, now that I realize where those two shows were, it wouldn't have hurt anything.
Well, logistically, Trump paid Vince the money to host it at Trump Plaza. So Vince
But it
was
still
paying.
didn't draw that many people.
It drew 5,000 people for both
That's
WrestleManias. But
his
Trump paid Vince.
5,000 after 93,000. But
But
I
Trump
also
had
think, and I've
but
said
Trump
this
had the
before,
mafia pay Vince McMahon all that money to host it. So it is what it is.
but
This is
listen,
where
I think it was the right thing to do because WrestleMania was huge. WrestleMania 2 was a bust having it in three cities. It's everyone's least favorite WrestleMania setup, at least.
Mhm.
And then WrestleMania 3 is the biggest ever. You almost had to go back down. It was the perfect time to just reset, recalibrate, start small, and build your way back up. Now they're bigger than ever. It's the biggest thing in the world right now next to NFL. And
Mhm.
so I think Andre winning, I think it would have drew some interest. And I think it really skyrockets if all these people hang around. Maybe they're getting a little tired of the Warrior. I'm not Warrior of Andre winning. Maybe they're getting sick of that. So maybe Warrior can't wait till WrestleMania to win. Maybe he has to win it at the Royal Rumble or main
Main
event,
event.
whatever.
Mhm.
Something out of nowhere that I like my idea of Hogan fine because that could be the undercard. Andre's steamrolling everybody, but Hogan's fighting his way, against the Heenan family to get a shot. Now he finally has a shot. So everyone's watching WrestleMania to see Hogan get a shot, but he gets hurt beforehand, and the replacement is the Ultimate Warrior. It's perfect, and I think people are gonna love the Warrior. I think he's gonna do fucking bigger than ever because instead of bringing him in, crushing job guys every week, and then because think about it, he was just beating job guys when he finally came out and beat Honky Tonk Man. And from that point on, he was to the moon until Hogan derailed that shit. But Warrior was legit the 1A to Hogan's 1 when they finally fought each other.
Again, it's just one of those things, TW. We don't know, and I'll say this because, again, in my humble opinion, if Andre wins at Mania 3, I think what it does is, I guess for our fandom, TW, we don't get tired of Hogan having the belt. It's off of him. So
Right.
now the possibilities are endless. No matter where you want to go, who you want to book it with, it's something fresh to watch. And it's fresh TV, it's fresh storylines. So fandom wise, it's interesting. Business wise, I'm gonna be on the
Remains
fence
to
with
be
this.
seen.
It remains to be seen. I don't know if the houses will be full with Andre as the champion, or just knowing that Andre is the champion. Your undercard and your IC champion better knock it out of the park. And you had Savage, and you had Honky, and you had Ricky Steamboat. So if you had that variables to sell out Madison Square Garden, Joe Louis Arena, Reflectionites, maybe the business will be saved. But again, business-wise, I'm going to be honest, TW, I'm objective. I don't know. Again, we call it a money train for a reason. Hogan got, because of Hogan and McMahon doing what they're doing, they got the NBC Saturday Night Main Event deal. Because of Hogan and Vince McMahon doing what they're doing, they're getting the MTVs. They're getting primo syndication deals and all that stuff. So it's because of the two-headed monster that is Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. Andre the Giant would be nostalgic. Andre the Giant would be, thank you for your service. Thank you for your contributions. But again, realistically, Reflectionites, I'm being objective here. I don't know if that's going to take it to the next level. I don't know if that's crossover. Maybe because of Andre being the champion, people will now flip the switch to TBS DW and say, you know what, Ric Flair, I don't know why I'm mad at Ric Flair being the champion and all this shit with Andre not being on TV. I got my champion on TV. He's talking, he's wrestling and all that stuff. Maybe people might say, you know what, I'll give NWA a chance. I don't know. That's just, again, 30 seconds TW. Do you agree with my assessor? I have a different take.
But here's another little side note. Hogan losing to Andre probably doesn't give Steamboat the heat he got for upstaging him and beating Macho Man in the greatest match of all time on the undercard of WrestleMania 3. If Hogan loses to Andre, that's the thing. That's the silver lining, is people left talking about Steamboat and Savage anyways. So if Hogan loses to Andre and people are sour about it, they might then go, but at least Steamboat won, if they're optimists. If they're negative, they're like, fuck WWE. I'm watching that TBS bullshit. No, I'm going back to WWE. That TBS bullshit. I don't like it. But
all right,
I thought we were talking about AEW. My bad.
let me actually read a different light, because I want to say this. If Andre wins, do we even remember Steamboat Savage being the greatest match of all time?
Absolutely, because it's that good. It's that good.
Okay. And with that being said, we close on this What If edition here at the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. TW's battery is at 8%, so I'm trying to save him some battery time and all that stuff. So what we're going to do next time, Reflectionites TW, we're going to do a little spotlight. We're going to do a greatest heel turns TW. We're going to go back to 1994 when Bob Backlund snapped. That's all I'm going to tell you. And you know why I'm talking about why Bob Backlund snapped. He snapped in a match. He snapped against Arnold Skolin. And we're going to talk about how that affected the Bob Backlund character and all that stuff. So TW, you ready for that? I'm going to give you some videos to watch on that shit.
Yeah.
And we're going to celebrate Bob Backlund going crazy, being, cornbread and all that stuff. So TW, give out your socials and I'll give out my socials and we'll get out of here.
Alrighty. I don't have the stuff to read because my phone is recording me right now.
I talk about yours. We already talked about this before the air.
Yeah, I know. So you can follow me on Instagram and X at TommyWonder19. You can follow me on Snapchat at NumberWonder, Facebook.com/TommyWonder, and you can follow Big Ray Hernandez everywhere on social media at Big Ray Hernandez. He's probably friends with John Wayne Gacy before he got arrested on all the social media platforms, but they have a similar personality, those two guys. And then you can find Noel and Big Vito at Big Vito Brand on TikTok. You don't stop.
And just follow the link underneath my name. That's youtube.com/Pro Wrasslin Reflection, or just type in PWSO PROF. That's PWSO Prof, and subscribe. I'm almost at 100 subscribers. I'm not paying for subscribers, Reflectionites. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. This is not about me trying to get like 10 million views like Logan Paul and all that shit. I'm not no gamer and all that shit. I'm just tried and true.
All that shit.
I'm just tried and true. So enjoy the nostalgia and enjoy the reflection. Follow me on the Twitter or the X at the same name, PWSOPROF. That's PWSOProf. And follow my Blue Sky, same thing, same name and all that stuff, .bsky.social. And with that being said, again, next week we'll do a heel turn spotlight, Bob Backlund going nuts. And with that being said, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Wonderful, the solo idiot, and the undisputed, undeniable Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the World. Tommy Wonder, whose battery is about to die, saying good night, and we'll see you next time here at the PWR podcast at the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. Peace.
Don't say snake, Bobby.
That's all you had?
Yeah, someone's at my door. So.